Have you ever wondered what truly goes on in a woman's heart and mind when you stop contacting her? Does she forget you? Does she miss you? Or does she quietly test your strength to see if you are the kind of man who bends at the first sign of silence? If you've ever pulled away from a woman or had her pull away from you, you know the storm of emotions it can create. But here's the secret. Stoic philosophy, especially the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, can help you understand exactly what happens in those moments and why your response determines whether you come back stronger or lose her respect forever. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and stay until the end of this video because what I'm about to share could transform your love life forever. Now let's step into the timeless wisdom of Stoicism and explore 10 Marcus Aurelius inspired suggestions to understand what a woman will do when you stop contacting her, and more importantly, how you should carry yourself in those moments. 1. She will question your value. Stay grounded. Have you ever gone a day, or maybe even a few days, without reaching out to someone you love, someone you're used to, talking to every single day? What happened inside you during that silence? Did you start overthinking? Did you begin to wonder, are they upset with me? Did I do something wrong? Or do they simply not care? Now flip the roles for a second. Imagine you've been the one who usually reaches out, the one who texts first, the one who checks in, the one who always makes sure the connection doesn't fade. And then, suddenly you stop. You don't text, you don't call, you don't ask how her day was. What do you think happens in her mind? At first she may brush it off. She might think, oh, he's busy, he'll text later. But as the hours turn into a day, and that day turns into 2, something begins to stir inside her. She begins to question your value in her life. Not because you've lost value, but because your silence forces her to confront what life feels like without your presence. This is the very moment Marcus Aurelius's wisdom comes alive. He once said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." When you stop contacting her, she's no longer just looking at the old, familiar version of you, the man who was always available. Instead, she starts to wonder, what is he focused on? Why doesn't he need to chase me? Has he outgrown me? Or is he so ambitious, so driven, that I am no longer the center of his world? And here's the truth, most men panic in this stage. They feel her pulling away, and they run back with desperation, texting more, calling more, even apologizing when they've done nothing wrong. But you must understand this. Silence is not a weakness. It is a mirror. It reflects back to her the reality of your presence or your absence. Think back to your own love life. Has there ever been a woman you didn't fully value until she stopped giving you attention? Maybe you didn't realize how much her messages or her laughter meant to you until one day they weren't there. That little ache you felt, that's the same ache she feels when your attention disappears. But here's the key, you must stay grounded. You cannot break your silence too soon just to ease her discomfort. Because if you do, you show her that your value depends on her recognition. And a stoic man, like Marcus Aurelius, would remind us, does not seek validation outside himself. Instead, you hold firm. You live your life. You chase your goals. You let her feel the absence of your energy. Because if she truly values you, that silence won't push her away, it will pull her closer. And when she does come closer, it won't be because you begged, but because she realized on her own that life feels emptier without you. So let me ask you again, when you've pulled away in love, did she value you more or did she let you go? Your story might hold the answer. 2, she will test your patience, master self-control. Have you ever been in that exact moment where you're staring at your phone, waiting for her message, but it never comes? You feel your chest tighten, your fingers itch to type, and your mind whispers, just send her something small. Just a quick, hey, how are you? That's harmless, right? But deep inside, you know what's really happening. You're being tested. When you stop contacting a woman, one of the first things she often does is wait. Not because she forgot you, not because she doesn't care, but because she wants to see if you'll break. Will you hold your ground or will you fold under the pressure of silence? And this is where so many men fail. They collapse under the weight of their own emotions. The silence drives them crazy, and they chase, thinking they're saving the connection, when in reality, they're destroying their value. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. And that's exactly what this test is about. It's not about her. It's about you. Think of it like this. Imagine she's sitting there, scrolling through her phone, deliberately not texting you. She's curious. She's wondering, will he reach out? Will he show me he can't handle this silence? She's not saying it, but her actions are silently asking you, are you the kind of man who can remain calm under pressure? Now let's make this personal. Have you ever been in love with someone who pulled back, and every second felt like an eternity? Did you check your phone every 5 minutes hoping to see their name? That storm of emotion, the uncertainty, the longing. That's what you're fighting when she tests your patience. But here's the secret. If you can master yourself in that storm, she feels it. She notices your restraint. She senses that you are not desperate for her attention, because your life has deeper meaning than just her reply. And ironically, this is when she becomes more drawn to you. Because every woman, whether she admits it or not, respects the man who doesn't lose control in the silence. Ask yourself, how many times have you rushed to text someone back, only to regret it later because you realized your emotions were running the show, not your reason? This is why patience is so powerful. Silence is like a chess game. You don't win by moving too fast. You win by waiting, by observing, by letting the other person reveal their hand first. And when you embrace that, when you let her wonder and wait, you flip the script. Instead of you chasing her, she begins chasing your calmness, your control, your mystery. Because here's the truth. Women test your patience not to hurt you, but to discover the depth of your strength. And when you pass that test, you don't just win her respect, you win her admiration. So the next time silence feels unbearable, remember Marcus Aurelius's wisdom. Your mind is yours to control. Her tests are just noise. Your response, calm, steady, patient. That is your true power. 3. She will miss the energy, remain purpose-driven. Have you ever been around someone whose very presence lit up your day? Maybe it was the way they spoke, the way they carried themselves, or simply the way they made you feel like life was more alive when they were around. Now think about this. What happened when that person suddenly stopped showing up in your life? Did you feel a void? Did the silence around them feel heavier than you expected? That's exactly what happens when you stop contacting a woman. You see, every man brings a certain energy into a woman's world. It might be your humor, your calmness, your confidence, or even your unique way of listening when she talks. Over time, she becomes used to that presence, so much so that she forgets how different her days feel without it. At first, when you stop contacting her, she might not notice. She'll think, he's just busy. He'll message later. But as hours pass, and those hours turn into days, something begins to shift. The laughter you shared, the little check-ins you gave, the way you made her feel special, all of that leaves a vacuum. And here's the fascinating part. She doesn't just miss you, she misses the energy you carried into her life. Marcus Aurelius once said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. And this is where most men get it wrong. When they stop contacting her, instead of focusing on their own purpose, they just sit in silence, obsessing over whether she'll come back. But that silence without growth feels empty. It doesn't pull her in. It pushes her away. The Stoic approach is different. You don't just disappear from her life, you reappear in your own. You put your focus back on your goals, your dreams, your passions. You live with energy, not for her, but for yourself. And here's what happens. Women notice. Even if she doesn't speak to you, even if she pretends not to care, somewhere in her heart she wonders, what is he doing? Why does he seem so alive without me? Why does it feel like he's moving forward while I'm standing still? Now let's bring this back to you. Think about a time in your own love life where you stopped hearing from someone you cared about. Didn't your mind begin to wander? Didn't you ask yourself what they were doing without you? That little curiosity, that longing, that's the exact same thing she feels when your energy is gone. But here's the golden rule. She will only miss your energy if you truly have energy worth missing. If you're sitting still, scrolling endlessly, waiting for her message, there's nothing magnetic about that. But if you're out there pursuing your ambitions, creating, working, growing, she feels it even in silence. Because a man of purpose has an invisible presence. He doesn't need to speak for others to feel him. His growth, his calmness, his determination, they echo louder than words. And that's why when you stop contacting her, the most powerful thing you can do is remain purpose-driven. Don't let your silence be a void. Let it be a signal that your life is moving forward with or without her. Because the truth is simple. When a woman realizes that your energy is not just about her, but about your entire existence, she doesn't just miss you. She longs to be part of that fire again. 4. She will feel the mystery, don't over-explain. Have you ever had a moment when someone you cared about suddenly pulled back and, instead of getting answers, you were left in silence? What happened in your mind? Didn't it feel like your imagination began working overtime? Suddenly, you weren't just thinking about the person. You were creating stories, scenarios, even fears that may not have been real. Now imagine this happening to her when you stop contacting her. You see, one of the most powerful effects of your silence is the mystery it creates. Women are naturally curious when something doesn't add up. Their mind searches for answers. If you've always been available, predictable, the one who always explains himself, then your sudden quietness doesn't just confuse her. It makes her wonder, why did he stop texting me? Did something happen? Did he lose interest? Or is he seeing someone else? Her imagination starts racing. And here's the key. You don't need to answer those questions, because the very mystery of not knowing pulls her toward you more strongly than any explanation ever could. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If you rush in to explain yourself, to reassure her, to say, "Hey, don't worry, I'm just busy. I still like you," you rob her of the chance to feel that mystery. Instead, you paint her thoughts with certainty, and certainty kills curiosity. Think about your own experiences in love. Have you ever been more drawn to someone who kept you guessing? Maybe it was the girl who didn't always reply right away, or the one whose life seemed bigger than just you. That little sense of not fully having her kept your interest alive. Mystery made her magnetic. The same is true for you. If every time she wonders you immediately explain, you're teaching her that she never has to work for your attention. But if you let her sit with her own curiosity, if you let her mind wander, she begins to chase clarity, and that chase pulls her closer to you. Now here's the trap most men fall into. They can't stand being misunderstood. They think, if I don't explain myself, she'll think I don't care. But that's not true. Explanation brings comfort, but comfort brings complacency. Mystery, on the other hand, brings desire. Remember this. You don't need to play games, you don't need to lie, but you also don't need to open every door in your mind for her to walk through. A Stoic man, as Marcus Aurelius taught, keeps control of himself. He doesn't give away his peace just to satisfy someone else's curiosity. So what should you do when she feels that mystery? Nothing. Stay calm. Stay grounded. Let her feel it. Because when she feels it, she starts leaning in. She wants answers, but instead of you giving them, she seeks them through closeness, through attention, through chasing you. And here's the truth. Women don't fall for what they fully understand. They fall for what keeps them wondering, imagining, dreaming. So don't kill the mystery by over-explaining. Let it live. Because in that silence, her heart begins to speak louder than her mind. 5. She will try to pull you back. Stand firm. Have you ever tried to walk away from someone, only to have them suddenly pull you back with a simple message? A phone call, or even just a look? Didn't it feel almost impossible to resist? Almost like all your strength disappeared in a single moment? That's exactly what happens when you stop contacting a woman. At first, she might stay silent. She might play it cool, thinking she can wait you out. But as time passes, curiosity and longing start to build. And then, almost out of nowhere, she tries to pull you back. It might be subtle, like a casual "Hey stranger" text. Or it might be more direct. "Why haven't I heard from you?" Sometimes it's even disguised as a joke. "I guess you've forgotten about me." Now here's where most men fail. The second they get this little breadcrumb, they rush back in with excitement. No, I didn't forget you. I've just been busy." They flood her with attention, desperate to show they're still there. But let me remind you of the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. When she pulls, you have to ask yourself, why is she pulling? Is it because she truly misses you? Or is it just to test her own power over you? This is where the Stoic man stands apart. Instead of rushing back, he stays calm. He doesn't ignore her. But he doesn't collapse into her arms at the first sign of attention either. He knows his value doesn't depend on whether she pulls or not. Think of it like a test of gravity. Imagine you're a mountain, solid, unmoved. The wind may blow, the rain may fall, even people may try to climb you, but you don't shift your ground. That's the image you must hold when she tries to pull you back. Now I want you to think about your own love life. Have you ever had a woman disappear for a while? only to come back with just enough effort to keep you interested? Did you jump back in, only to realize later that nothing had changed? That's the trap, and once you fall for it, she knows exactly how much power she holds. But when you stand firm, when you don't rush, when you keep your composure, something incredible happens. She begins to realize that your presence is not cheap, that you are not someone who comes running just because she snaps her fingers. And here's the paradox: when you don't chase her pull, she chases harder. Because deep down, every woman respects the man she cannot easily control. So when she tries to pull you back, remember this: it's not a signal to collapse. It's a test of your strength. Respond calmly, not desperately. Hold your ground like the mountain you are. Because a woman may be drawn to your attention, but she falls in love with your strength. 6. She will respect your boundaries, value yourself. How many times in your life have you allowed someone to cross your boundaries just because you didn't want to lose them? Maybe it was answering texts at midnight when you were exhausted, or forgiving disrespect because you didn't want to start a fight, or giving more of yourself than you actually had to give. Be honest, have you ever done that? Most of us have. And most of us have learned the hard way that when you give too much without demanding respect in return, people start to take you for granted. Now, here's the truth that many men don't realize. When you stop contacting a woman, one of the hidden things you're actually doing is setting a boundary. You're saying, without words, I will not beg for your attention. I will not be the only one keeping this alive. If you want me in your life, it must be mutual. At first, she might not like it. She might feel frustrated, even confused. But beneath that, something deeper begins to form: respect. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man should be upright, not kept upright." What he meant is that real strength doesn't come from others holding you in place. It comes from you standing tall on your own. And that's exactly what boundaries are. They're the invisible
lines that show her you are a
man who values himself enough not to bend just to be liked. Think about this in your own love life. Have you ever noticed how you respected someone more when they didn't give you everything you wanted right away? Maybe it was a girl who said, "No, I can't see you tonight. I have other plans." Instead of being angry, you felt intrigued, even impressed. Her boundary made you see her as someone who had her own life, her own value. It works the same way for you. When you stop contacting her, you're showing her that your world doesn't revolve around her phone, call, or her message. You have your own rhythm, your own priorities, your own life. And here's what's powerful. Women may complain about a man's boundaries, but deep down they respect them. They respect the man who doesn't give in too easily, who doesn't compromise his dignity just to stay in someone's good graces. Now here's the trap. Many men, when they sense that a woman is upset by their silence, immediately drop their boundary. They rush back, they explain, they apologize for things they never needed to apologize for. And in that moment, they teach her something dangerous, that his word, his silence, his strength can all be bent if she applies just a little pressure. But when you stay firm, when you hold your ground without anger or arrogance, something shifts. She may not say it out loud, but she feels it. This man values himself. He cannot be moved so easily. If I want him in my life, I must treat him with respect. So remember this: your silence is not just about absence, it's about presence. It's about showing her that you value yourself so much, you won't trade your dignity for attention. Because in the end, the man who respects himself teaches others exactly how to treat him. 7. She will reveal her true feelings. Watch carefully. How many times have you sat in silence, staring at your phone, wondering what she really feels about you? Wondering if she misses you the way you miss her? If she thinks of you late at night? If her heart beats a little faster when your name pops up? Here's the secret most men overlook. When you stop contacting her, you create space. And in that space, her true feelings will come rushing to the surface. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Time discovers truth." And that's exactly what happens when you withdraw. Time becomes your ally. It strips away the pretenses, the games and the illusions, and it forces her to confront what she actually feels about you. Think back to a moment in your own life, maybe from your first love. You stopped reaching out for a few days, maybe out of frustration, or maybe just because you were busy. And suddenly she started sending messages like, "Hey, where have you been?" Or, "I was just thinking about you." Do you remember that feeling? That spark of realization, she actually cares. This is the moment of truth. When you pull back, a woman cannot hide behind comfort or habit anymore. If she truly values you, she will reveal it, not with words alone, but with actions. She will check on you. She will want to know if you're okay. She will find reasons to connect, even the smallest excuses just to feel your presence again. On the other hand, if she doesn't value you, that silence will also reveal the truth. She won't reach out. She won't ask where you've been. She will show you through her inaction that you were never as important as you thought. And yes, that truth might sting, but it is better to face reality than to live in the shadow of false hope. Here's the key though, you must watch carefully. Don't just listen to her words. Women can say one thing but feel another. Pay attention to consistency. Pay attention to the tone. Pay attention to how her actions align or don't align with her words. When a woman's heart is stirred by your absence, she will make it known in ways that can't be faked. Her voice softens. Her energy leans toward you. Her curiosity grows. Even if she tries to play it cool, the truth will slip through. And this is where your strength as a stoic man comes in. You cannot rush to judgment, and you cannot let your emotions blind you. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Likewise, if her actions do not show love, do not imagine it. If her effort does not reveal care, do not invent it. Let reality stand on its own. So here's the powerful lesson. When you stop contacting her, don't fill the silence with your own assumptions. Watch, observe, let her reveal her truth to you. Because in that moment, you will know exactly where you stand. And that knowledge, though it may hurt or heal, is the most powerful gift you can receive. Because in love, clarity is worth more than comfort. 8. She will either grow closer or stay detached. Have you ever found yourself holding on to someone so tightly that you almost suffocated the connection? Be honest. Maybe you kept texting first, calling first, always trying to keep things alive, only to feel them drifting further away. It's painful, isn't it? That sinking feeling that the harder you try, the less they care. But here's the truth. Marcus Aurelius would whisper to you if he sat by your side today. Receive without pride, let go without attachment. When you stop contacting her, something powerful happens. She will either be pulled closer to you, or she will fade away. And here's the key. You must remain detached enough to allow either outcome to unfold. Think of it like a fire. If there's genuine warmth between you, stepping back gives her space to realize she doesn't want that fire to die. She'll come closer, she'll nurture it, she'll add her own spark. But if her interest was only smoke and no flame, then silence exposes the truth. It fades without your effort keeping it alive. This is where many men fail. Instead of waiting, they panic. They see her silence as rejection and they chase harder. They text more, they plead, they demand answers. And in that panic, they destroy their own dignity. But a stoic man understands that not everything is within his control. You cannot control her feelings. You cannot control her choices. What you can control is your detachment, your ability to stand firm, unshaken whether she grows closer or drifts away. Think back to your own love story. Can you remember a time when you gave too much? When you overinvested in someone who wasn't giving back? Maybe you stayed up late at night thinking of her, while she was out laughing with friends, not even remembering your name in that moment. That memory hurts, but it also teaches. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine you stepping back, living your life with purpose, focusing on your goals, your peace, your growth. Suddenly she begins to wonder, why isn't he chasing me anymore? What is he doing? Who is he becoming? That curiosity becomes the seed of attraction, and before you know it, she's the one leaning closer. And if she doesn't, if she fades away, then let her, because what's meant for you will never need to be forced. As Epictetus said, don't seek for everything to happen as you wish it would, but rather wish that everything happens as it actually will, and then your life will flow well. So here's the truth, my friend. When you stop contacting her, you must hold the mindset of acceptance. If she grows closer, you welcome her presence without arrogance. If she fades away, you release her without bitterness. Because love built on neediness will never last. But love built on freedom, on choice, on respect will always stand the test of time. Stay detached, because only then will you know if her love is real. 9. She will feel the weight of losing you. Stay calm. Have you ever thought about what happens in a woman's heart when she realizes you're no longer chasing her? That sudden emptiness she feels when your name doesn't light up her phone anymore? That space, my friend, is where the weight of losing you begins to press down on her. Here's what most men don't understand. Women rarely feel the loss immediately. At first, she may even enjoy the silence. She may think, oh, finally, I have space. But as days pass, as your voice fades from her daily life, as your attention no longer fills her with validation, she begins to feel it. A heaviness, a curiosity, a fear that maybe, just maybe, she underestimated your value. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it." And this is exactly how her realization works. The weight of losing you doesn't come from your silence alone, it comes from her recognition of what that silence means. It means you're strong enough to let go. It means you're not begging. It means you value yourself enough not to chase where love isn't mutual. Now think about your own story. Have you ever lost someone who used to always be there for you? Maybe a friend, maybe a lover. At first you didn't notice their absence. But then, when a familiar moment arrived and they weren't there, you felt the sting. Maybe it was a place you used to visit together, or a time of day when they always called. Suddenly the absence was louder than any words. That's what happens to her when you stop contacting. She begins to remember the little things you gave her, the stability, the attention, the presence, and that weight grows heavier with each day of silence. But here's the key, you must remain calm. Most men, the moment they sense her missing them, rush back. They break the silence too soon, trying to seize the opportunity. But what does that do? It tells her that your strength was just an act, that your silence was only a game. A stoic man doesn't play games. He stays calm. He doesn't return with desperation, he waits, observes, and lets her actions reveal the truth. If she truly feels the weight of losing you, she will move mountains to close the gap. She will reach out not with casual words, but with genuine effort. And if she doesn't, then you've lost nothing. You've only confirmed what was already there. So remember this. The weight of losing you is not meant to punish her. It's meant to remind her of your value. And the more calmly you hold your ground, the more she understands that you are not a man easily replaced. Because the moment she realizes silence is permanent, she also realizes just how much you mattered. 10. She will respect the man you've become. Let time work. Have you ever run into someone from your past and noticed how differently they looked at you? Maybe it was an old friend, maybe an ex. At first they remembered the version of you they once knew. But as they spoke with you, as they saw your confidence, your calmness, your strength, they realized you were no longer the same person. That shift in their eyes, that's respect. And this is exactly what happens when you stop contacting her. At first, she remembers the man she thought she knew, the one who always called, who always reached out, who never wanted to let go. But as time passes and you remain calm, silent and focused on your own path, she begins to see something else. You are no longer chasing. You are no longer the same. You have become a man of strength. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." That's the essence of this final truth. When you stop contacting her, the silence gives you a choice to sit in pain waiting for her, or to rise, rebuild, and become better than you were yesterday. And when you choose the second path, when you grow instead of crumble, that growth cannot be ignored. Think about your own life. Have you ever improved yourself after heartbreak? Maybe you started going to the gym. Maybe you focused on your work. Maybe you found peace in solitude. And then months later, someone who once doubted you saw the change. Didn't their reaction surprise you? That sudden respect, that silent acknowledgement of the man you'd become, that is what time does. It works in your favor if you let it. But here's the discipline, you cannot rush it. Many men grow impatient. They want her respect immediately. They want her to regret instantly. But that's not how human nature works. True respect takes time. It's built when she sees consistency, not performance. When she realizes your silence wasn't a trick, but a reflection of your real strength. And here's the beautiful part. By the time she finally sees the man you've become, you may no longer even need her validation. Because in the process of waiting, you discovered something far greater. You discovered yourself. So, my friend, let time do its work. Don't force it. Don't beg for it. Live your life in such a way that months from now, if she sees you again, her only thought will be, "He's not the man I left. He's stronger, wiser, untouchable." And whether she comes back or not, you will have already won. Because you didn't just stop contacting her. You became the man she could never forget. Closing reflection. So what happens when you stop contacting a woman? She questions your value. She tests your patience. She misses your energy. She feels the mystery. She tries to pull you back. She respects your boundaries. She reveals her true feelings. She either grows closer or fades. She feels the weight of losing you. And finally, she respects the man you've become.